This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning. Okay, so in the last session, we started with doing the random sample from the data. Okay, so what was the function which we used? Dot sample, right? So you would say dot sample. So this is the data frame. On that, you would say sample, and how many observations you want to pick up randomly, you will specify that. That is what we have looked at. So let's continue today by looking at some of the descriptive statistics. Central tendency, what is the variance, and if time permits today, we will see about quartiles, percentiles, box plots. Now let's go here to descriptive statistics. So, descriptive with the word itself, it says that, it will describe or it will give us some idea on the variables and their distribution. So before working on any of the data, we want to understand, the distribution of the data. We will see what does that mean. So permit the analyst to describe many pieces of data with a few indices. So in the central tendencies, we will talk about the mean and the median. In the dispersion, there is something called as range, variance, and so these are like more towards statistics. Okay. Now let's look at the mean and median. And I'm sure you must be aware of, what is the difference between the mean and the median. So simple, like sum of values divided by count of values is the mean. Okay, so gives a quick idea on average of a variable. So mean is nothing but an average. Now, how do we do that from Python? So this is the data frame, and in the data frame, you are looking at this column. So you want basically mean of capital hyphen gain column. And what is the function you will use? It is mean. So that is straightforward. Now let's look at, median. So can someone tell, what is the difference between the mean and median? Any idea?
You know, Ramesh here, the mean is the sum of values
Yeah.
by count of values, but wherein median is
Mm-hmm.
the same number of repeated count.
Mm, okay, is it true? What you're talking is mode. So there is one more thing like mode. So repeated thing. So you're saying out of, 10 values, let's say eight values are two, other two values are, let's say, three and four. So you would say that
I hope it is
mode
more, right?
is two, the
It is
maximum number. So that is mode.
right.
Okay, one.
Median is the maximum number plus minimum number divided by two something.
Okay,
Okay, tell
okay.
you.
So mean is average and median is middle value, as Vamshi is saying. Mode is value with high frequency, yes. So here we are not talking about mode. So mode is perfect. Like, basis on the frequency, we would say that, mode for this, column is so and so, something like that. Whereas median is a middle value. Now, what does that mean? So mean is not a good measure in presence of outliers. So let's say if I want to give an example, let's say we have 10, we have 12, we have 9, 5, 6, 50, something like this. So let's say in one of the column you have this data. Now, if we look at the average, if we look at the average, it is coming out to be 16.78. So, what do you think? Is this average correct when we look at the data? Can I say that, let's say this is the salary. The values are too low, but try to understand. So let's say this is the salary. So can I say that, on an average, every employee is earning 16.78? Can I say that from this data? Or what is the problem? See, because most of the values, you know, are below 16. So how can I say that, so let's say, this is an employee. So every employee is earning 16.78, whereas we see that most of the rows are below 16. Now, what is causing this issue is because there are some outliers in the data. Because, this person is earning 50, this person is earning 100. So these two values, are the outliers. So they are, impacting our average value. So let's say, I will take this and I will remove this. Let me remove this and I'll copy. Now you see, so now this average is of these values. So what is the average? It's 7. So you see, there is a lot of difference between this and this. Why? Because in this, the outliers are impacting your average value. Now, how do we do that? Simply, we cannot remove it from the data, right? So whenever you have any outliers in the data, mean is not a good method to measure. So in that case, what we do is we take the median. So what median is, the data which we have middle value. So let's say if the middle value comes to this, can I say that, 50 is a median of it? Is 50 representing all the data points, all the salaries? No, right? Now, what we have to do is first, whenever we are taking the median, we have to sort it either by ascending or descending, smallest to largest or largest to smallest. So when we do that, so let's say this is the middle value now. So I can say that the median for this column is median salary of the employees is 6. Any questions?
Yes, you know,
See, in this
I hope
example
if it's
also,
a odd number,
mhm.
hello.
Okay, yeah, yeah, Ramesh, we can hear you.
I hope median will be in a different ways we can count it. If it's a odd number, we can find it directly. If it's a even number, we have to add
Yeah, right, right.
log.
So, yeah. So what we do is, let's say I'm saying this as the median, right? But above it, if you count how many value 6, below it, there are 7, but I cannot say, this is the median. So here there is a, conflict between these two, right? 6 and 9. And if you look at, above there are 6 values, below there are 6 values. But now from these two values,
Added, right?
I cannot say this is the middle, this is the middle. So what we generally do is we, add these two and divide by 2. So let's say 6 plus 9, 15. 15 divided by 2. It's 7.5. So we would say that median is 7.5. Got it?
Right.
So whenever there is a, you cannot pick any one, add those two values because we want to have the middle somewhere here, right? Somewhere here between 6 and 9. So add these two and divide by 2. That will give you median. Now, how do we do the median? So if you see, this is the data. After you sort it, you would see mean of the data is 2, median of the data is 4, right? So median is a positional measure. It doesn't really depend on outliers because median takes care of the outliers. Because see here, everything is like 0 point, 1 point, but this is one value which is, disturbing your entire mean. So what we are doing, so we are going by this median approach and sorting it so that when you do ascending or descending, either it will be at the bottom or it will be at the top. So we can pick the middle. We are picking the middle value. Now, how do we do that? So instead of mean, you just have to say median, and Python code will take care of, this calculation. Now, can you all do this? I'll give a couple of minutes. So let's go to online retail sales data. Where is that? If you go to datasets one folder, online retail sales data, and in that online retail.csv, and if you already have it, I hope we have written that already, online retail, you see. See, online retail, you already have it. So if you have closed your Python session, try to open the code. And if you've saved your code, just go here and run this online retail. And once you have this online retail, this one, so you should have 541909 rows and 8 columns. And then try out this mean and median and let me know what is the mean and median you are getting. Can you all try this out? So this is how you will do it. So once you import online retail, you look at shape to see how many rows and columns. You do columns dot values to see what are the different column names because you want to pick this unit price and quantity. But before that, you want to know what are the column names. You can do this. Then mean and median of unit price in online. So you would say online retail, which column unit price, and you would say dot mean. In a similar way, dot median. So what is the mean and median you are getting? Can you ping in the chat window for unit price? Okay, 4.61 is the mean, whereas median 2.08. Yes. So in ideal scenarios, mean and median should be, either same or nearer. So if you see that, there is a lot of difference between the mean and median. What does that say? That say that in the data you have lot of outliers. Otherwise, mean and median should be, same or, close to same. But when you see that, there is a difference between mean and median, huge difference between mean and median, one thing you can conclude is, okay, in the data there are a lot of outliers. That's why, mean and median are giving two contrasting values. In the similar way, you can also do it for quantity. Yes, normal distribution, yes. Okay. Now we have looked at the central tendency, the mean and median stuff, and you have understood, okay, whenever we get any data, how do we look for those values, and when do we decide to go for mean or median? Uh, Mean is the average and median is the middle value. Now, there's dispersion measures. There are two things we'll be learning now, variance and standard deviation. These are more, towards statistics, and I hope you are understanding it. So the mean and median was pretty simple. I'm sure you must have heard about it earlier. But anyone is aware of, this variance and standard deviation? Yes, anyone aware? Okay, I'm just saying variance and standard deviation is how data is distributed. Because sometimes what happens is, whatever data you have, let's say, this company A, let's say this is the stock price, okay? Let's say this is the stock price. The mean stock price is coming to 15. For company B, the mean stock price is coming to 15. If you're going by average method. So let me ask a question here. So based on these, different, stock prices on different dates, on which stock you will be purchasing, whether you'll be purchasing the stock of company A or company B. What do you think? Which stock you will be purchasing? Anusha is saying company B. Anyone? So you want to decide, let's say you are in the stock market and you are looking at the past trend and this is the stock price. So what happens generally, if the stock prices are low, we tend to, purchase the stock. And when the stock prices are high, we, tend to sell off those stocks. So basis on that concept, and you look at, the past stock prices, we need to decide, okay, I will put my money in the stock market for company A. Okay, Ramesh is saying A, Kapil is also saying A. Okay, and Anusha is saying company B. See, just knowing the central tendency, that means the mean median is not enough. Two variables might have same mean. In this example, we're saying company is one variable, company B is another variable. If you just go by looking at the mean, it will not give you the true picture because for both the companies, the mean is coming out same, but the values are totally different. But mean could be same for two columns, right? So look at these two variable profit details of two companies. Okay, I said stock prices, but that's fine. Now, though the average profit is 15 in both the cases, company B has performed consistently than company A. So if you see, whenever you looked at, okay, let's say this is the profit and the stock price. Um, when you see the company A, there are a lot of ups and downs. 43, 44, then it suddenly crashed. Then it picked up 25, 20, 35 again, went down. The stock prices went down. Then if you see, it's not smooth. Company A, there are a lot of ups and downs. Sometimes it's giving, good return, sometimes bad, very bad. But look at company B, even if it is not giving very high return like 43, 44, but it is performing consistently, you see, and there are no negatives. If there are negatives, that means you have purchased for 35, rupees, one stock, it had dropped to -8. You will lose the money in that case. But given a chance, I would go and invest, put my money in company B because I see that it is doing you know consistently. It is performing consistently. But if you just see by average, you cannot take a call because now you understood what could be the problem, because by looking just at mean, we cannot arrive at a decision saying, okay, this is good or this is bad. So we have to go by a different approach. That's why we have to learn this variance and standard deviation. So what is the variance? Variance is average of squared distances of each point from the mean. So let's say this is the value we have, right, for both the companies. So this is the value of company A, this is the value of company B. You see that both of them are having 15 as the average. Now, what the variance, how do we come up with the variance is, so if you see value minus mean, that means every value I will subtract it from the mean. So how much it is deviating from the mean, right? So 43 minus 15, 28, 44 minus 15 is 29, 0 minus 15 is minus 15, and so on. We will do that. So every value from from the mean, that is value minus mean value. Now then we will do a square of it. So why we do square of it is because we want to, get rid of these negatives, because there will also be negative value minus mean. So we just want to get rid of those negatives. So the formula is, we square it basically, and then when you square it, this is what the profit for company A is 352,
Shrinu,
whereas for company
here in
B
the
you
first
see,
row, sorry to interrupt. In the first row, 43, the difference of is the means the scale value is 784, but the difference in value and mean is 43 minus 28. 15 का 15 square is 225.
no, no, it's not 15 ka square. So 40, what we have to understand this value first, how this 28 came. What I'm saying is every value we have to subtract it from the mean of this column. So we saw that mean of this column is 15, right? So 43 minus 15 is 28. 44 minus 15 is 29. 0 minus 15 is minus 15. So value, whatever value you have, minus mean of that column, that is what this column is. And then this column is just a square of it, square of these values. Got it, Pooja?
Yes, Shrinu got it.
Yeah. So, when we are, what is the variance? There is a lot of variance here, right? 352. But whereas the variance of it is 4.9. So this gives a clear picture that, you know, even if the means are same, company B is performing more consistently. Variance, you can, think of, ups and downs, like, the lower the variance, the better it is. So you see that there is a lot of ups and downs in the company A. 352 is the variance, the difference, whereas 4.9 for the company B. So by looking at this variance, you can conclude that, okay, company B is performing very consistently than company A. So this is the formula in the math you have seen, like x of I minus, x bar. X bar is nothing but, this is x, okay? X bar is the mean, which is 15. So what this is saying, x of I, that means first x of 1, 43 minus x of bar. X of bar is 15. So we are doing those, and at the end, what we are doing, we are doing a square of it and divided by n. So once you have this values, squared values, you sum up all these and divide it by number of observations. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you add up all these values, this third column values, and divide it by 14. That will give you the variance. Now, standard deviation is simple. So it is the square root of variance. Because see, in the variance, while computing the variance, we have taken, the squares of it, right? So standard deviation, takes a square root of those values. So variance gives a good idea of dispersion, but it is the order of squares. Since we have taken squares in that formula, there is no there is a square, right? Why did we take the squares? Because when we take each value, difference of each value from the mean, it could also be negative. We have seen that. So just to tackle those negatives, we have squared them up. So it is very clear from the formula, variance unites are squared than that of original value. So variance units are squared than that of original value. To talk in terms of our original value only. Hello, can you all hear me? I think you people might have lost me for some time. Can you all hear me? Pooja, Vamshi. Okay. So, yeah. So, our original values are in this way, like 43, 44. But since we have squared, this is the big number we are getting. But if you want to talk in terms of the original value, what I have to do, we have the variance. We have to take the square root of that so that we come to the original, in the original form. So standard deviation is the variance measure that is in the same units as the original data. Everything is same. So we just have to calculate the variance. We just have to calculate the variance. The variance of this is 352. Variance of this is 4.9. We just have to take a square root of that. We just have to take a square root. That is the standard deviation. How much it is deviating from the mean. But it is the square root of the variance. Now, how do we do that? So just like we use mean and median, you would say dot var is for calculating the variance. STD is for calculating the standard deviation. Can you all try this out? So which is the data we want to use is, if I go back. Yeah, can you hear me now? Okay. So I'm just saying, where do we, get these data points? Can you all hear me now? Okay. Okay, so let's do this. So we already have this online retail. So on the unit price, try to compute the variance and standard deviation and let me know how much is the variance and standard deviation you are saying on the unit price. Can you all write this code? So what is the variance? 96.2? Is it 96.2? Okay, variance is 9362.46. And what is the standard deviation? Yeah, 96.75. Yeah, and you see that why variance? So you have to, think in terms of why variance is so high, why it is a big number, because variance takes the squares in the calculation, right? So each value from the mean, that value we take a square of it. So that's why, the variance comes to be high, but standard deviation we take a square root of that variance. So the standard deviation is pretty much less. So you can always decide whenever we want to look at, okay, how is the data distributed? So it's not always necessary to just look at the mean and median only, right? Because now with those company A and company B example, we cannot just go by mean median from the data. So what is the best method to look at the distribution of the data? To look at the variance and the standard deviation. So, the lesser the variance and lesser the standard deviation, the better the distribution. And can you all do on the unit price? What was the main? Can you all tell me what was the main? So variance is 9,362 and standard deviation is 96.7. What was the mean? Can you all try the mean now? Yeah, 4.6. Right. Because see, when you're looking at mean and median, it is not giving us a true picture, but variance and standard deviation, gives us the clarity on, okay, what's happening in the data. Is there lot of differences in the data, like a lot of outliers and all that stuff? Variance and standard deviation are good. So today we have looked at, okay, mean, you would use dot mean. For median, you would say dot median. For variance, you would say dot var. For standard deviation, you would say dot std. Got it? Now let's look at, this percentiles. So any idea on what is the percentiles? I'm sure you must have heard about percentile. Any idea from anyone?
So, percentile is percent is basically out of 100. Percentile is basically out of the highest value. Your value by the highest value.
Hmm. Right. Anusha is saying percentage of total, but simply not percentage of total, right? That becomes a percentage. Okay, let me show you. So a student attended an exam along with 1,000 others. Okay, he got 68% marks. Now we want to see, okay, how good or bad he performed in the exam. But let's say, let's look at this statement. So the student got 68 marks. So So by looking at that percentage, 68 percentage, what is the first reaction, the thought which comes to our mind? Okay, 68% is very, low. It's not that good percentage. That is what we think, right? But if I tell you that out of those 1,000 people, he's the only one who has scored 68%. Now, what does this mean? Now, the student, has performed good or bad. What do you think? Out of 1,000 people, he's the only one who scored 68% marks. Yes. So he scores better compared to those 1,000 people, right? So, whenever we look at our percentage, let's say, you have achieved some score, let's say 50 score of 50 from 100. So how we do the percentage 50 divided by, 100, we would say that, multiply by 100, we would say that, he got a 50 percentage. But that is not a good method. So in all the examinations, you will see that, they talk about percentiles. Okay, these many students have this student has, scored 90 percentile. They will not say percentage. They would say percentile. So what does that mean is, for example, with 68 marks, he stood at 90th position. 90th position. So what does this mean is, there are 910 students who got less than 68. So if he's okay, can you all hear me now? Ramesh is saying audio is not clear. Am I better now? Okay. So with 68 marks, he stood at 90th position out of this 1,000 people. So that means if we are saying that, okay, he is at 90th position out of this 1,000, that means those left 910 students got less than 68. So only 89 students got more marks than him. So what I would say now is, instead of, saying 68 percentage, I would say he's standing at 91 percentile. So what does that mean? 90 students, have scored more than him. Can we say that? So this gives a clear picture, right? Okay, where does he standing out of those 1,000? So that gives a good idea on the performance. The percentiles give us better idea on the distribution of the data. So percentiles make the data easy to read instead of just going by percentage. Any questions on this percentile? I hope this is clear. Yeah, so he stood at 90th position, right? So instead of stating 68 marks, we can say that, 91%, 91 percentile. He's standing at 91 percentile. That means, there are 90 people who have scored better out of, so that means out of 1,000 only 90 students are better than me and rest of them are below me. But if you just look at by 68%, the thought comes to our mind, okay, he's not done well in the examination. But if you look at in terms of percentile, that gives a good picture. So let's say marks are 40. Let's look at this. Okay, can you all hear me now? I think there's some issue with my Wi-Fi. I'm sure you must be hearing me now. Now, what I'm saying is marks are 40, but percentile is 80. What does this mean? So this means that 80% of exam percentile. So that means 20% are above and 80% are below. Can we say that? If a student has scored, 80 percentile, that means only 20% of the students are above him and 80% are below. That is what the percentile means. So percentiles helps us in getting an idea on outliers. For example, the highest income value is this, but 95th percentile is 20,000 only. So when you talk about percentiles, you get a clear picture, okay, how many of them are above and how many of them are below. So any questions so far? So let's continue this, percentiles and quartiles tomorrow, and then we will be looking at some other interesting things. Any questions so far?
Shinu, I want to ask a
So
question.
when,
Yeah, please carry on.
yeah, tell me, tell me.
Shinu, I was yesterday doing some revision of the functions which we did earlier, but describe function was not working for a particular variable. How on for one for the data on which I worked on. So I want to show you means what's the
Okay,
error in because I didn't find any error. I was unable to find it.
okay, can you show that?
Yeah,
Let me
sure.
make you present.
Okay.
Yeah, those who want to drop, we are done for today's session. If you want to, go to office or something, feel free to leave. We will connect back tomorrow. I'm making it bigger. Uh-huh. Yeah, this PDF is already uploaded on the Google Drive, is it not? Let me see. Under material. Okay, I have not uploaded. Yes, I will upload it right now.
Shane, can you
Okay,
see?
so which she's done. Yeah, I can see.
Here it is that I have calculated it in the sales. This is working. Uh, Data is imported successfully, and
Mm-hmm.
this is also working. That it's giving the names of columns. But when I am
Mm-hmm.
getting the definition, getting the information on a particular variable, it says data is not defined. Not this one because I changed
Right.
the name later. Sales because I tried to change the name and checked. Uh, this
Yeah,
also
because
doesn't
see,
work.
that will not work. The data will not work because what is the data frame you have? The data frame name is sales. The data which you have imported, you have stored the data in the sales, right? So what you have to do instead of data, so just like how you did sales.column values, why do you did sales on line number 105? Because sales was the data for you, right?
Correct. Shrinu,
Okay, but
I
here
changed the
also,
name later. It didn't work. It was earlier data because it was earlier I calculated in the data field. Later on, I changed it to
hmm,
sales. Uh, so that's also
okay,
doesn't
okay.
work.
Hmm. Yeah, Vamshi, tell me.
Can I present my screen? I was not able to execute that mean, median, or this, all the four of them, what you had said.
Oh, okay, okay. One second. Let me look at this for a minute.
Sure.
Okay, what is the column name? Can you show the list of column values? Can you run 105 line? Pooja, can you run line number 105?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this will give us a list of columns. Now, do we have symbolic? Okay.
Symbolic.
Okay. See, it's symbolic, but there is a space in front of that. You see that? In the
Yes,
quotation, you see, before symbolic, there is a space. So copy that
correct.
entire thing, space and symbolic. Do space and symbolic. Yeah, so copy this, put it here, replace it. I think this is the issue here. Now can you run this? Let's see, 109.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. Correct, correct. So
the
that
column
might
name. Yeah, it's a column name. Yeah, so the data which we have imported, before the column name, there are spaces. And we will see how do
correct.
we can also remove those things from the column name.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, Vamshi, let me make you presenter, Vamshi.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So I could execute this
Hmm.
after this. When I execute this,
Okay. One second. See, when you're executing on the right hand side, you see that red
yeah,
square. So I think you were executing when the upper command was running, still executing it. See, okay, I'll show you. So just take the mouse over that console on the right hand side.
mm-hmm.
There is a console 1/A.
Yeah,
Yeah, just take the mouse on the right, on the same line, just take the mouse on the right. You see that square icon?
yeah,
So, you know, if you see this is highlighted in red, that means the query is running. We have to wait for the query to get completed. So now what you do is run that 131 and 131 line and look at the data. at that square, okay? Run line number 130 and 131. Look at the square. See, it's still running.
Uh-huh.
It's
Okay.
still running. We have to wait. Okay, now the run got completed. Now you run.
Okay. Got it, got it. Sorry, my bad.
But where is, okay, no problem. But where is that square?
Hello. I can't hear you, sir.
Got it right, Vamshi?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're saying something, so I could not hear that. No, this
Yeah.
is good.
No, I was saying I was expecting the output. I was saying in the console window, where is the main?
So it's coming
But
here,
since you
right?
have stored that value into some other variable, yeah, it is showing in the variable explorer.
But I don't think where is var is coming. Median and mean are coming. But var isn't.
See
Mm-hmm.
here you have created all the names as a online underscore
Yeah.
retail only instead of different names.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm. But still, this has to work, right? It says float object subscriptable. I don't know what that is. Is this working? Like the same thing with var and std.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What does it say online yesterday? Okay, 1 second. Let me see that. Mm, what is the column name? Unit price.
So I think this is getting executed. No, no, even this is not getting executed.
Okay, it's working for me. Okay, can you? There is a space after VAR. Is there a space after VAR brackets? Can you remove those spaces?
Oh, after the before VAR.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Okay, can you run now?
No.
It was running before
Yeah,
this, right?
mean and median,
What
mean and
happened?
median were running.
Even main is not running.
Yeah.
Can you import that data again? Something has happened. Okay, see, it got run. Now run the median. It's done. Run the var. Okay, the
Hmm.
square root of
Maybe it's
it's working.
because yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, let me quickly make you present a puja. I think you had a question, then we can end the call.
Yeah, sure. The packages matplotlib and skikit you will cover later, right? That were in the first PD. Those were in the
Ah,
first
we will
PD.
cover. Yeah, yeah, we will cover that. Yes.
Okay. I think these would be covered later, and so because I was having problem with there would be problem with the spacing only, because of which other commands are not working. Mm, it's fine
Hmm.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
When there is a question comes of how to do the how to find the structure of the variable, then we will go with the describe command, not with the value count command, right?
Yeah, describe, yes.
Okay. Okay. When we discussed that assignment,
So
then
value
there
count is,
was a question of to find the structure of a variable. But at that time, we covered that we should go for value count command.
no, value count is just for, taking the frequency for each of the value, how many observations. I think in both ways we looked at. You can also, but value counts will just give you the frequency, whereas describe will give you all the other statistics, as you could see on your screen, like, okay, what is the count, mean, standard deviation, min, 25, 50, 75 max. But value underscore count will just give you limited results. It just gives a frequency, just like a proc freq. Whereas describe, you can think as if proc means in SAS.
Okay. Okay, Shrinu, we can end for today.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all. So
Okay.
let's connect back tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.